Rise of Regional Kingdoms. In part 1 of chapter India in the 18th century, we discussed about the various causes that led to the decline of the Mughal Empire. In part 2, we will discuss that how on the ruins of the Mughal Empire there arose many new regional kingdoms like Sikhs, the Rohillas, the Rajputs, the Awadh or we can say Oudh, the Marathas, the Bengal, the Nizams of Hyderabad and the Mysore. Out of all these provinces, the three largest independent kingdoms that arose during that time were Awadh, Bengal and Hyderabad. Now, one by one, we'll discuss all the provinces. First, we'll discuss about Bengal, that was the most important area to be first occupied by the Britishers. Bengal, in Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan was made the governor of Bengal in 1717 by the Mughals. Taking advantage of a weak center, he began to rule it independently and after that he made Murshidabad his capital. Then he built the Katra Masjid in Murshidabad, West Bengal, where he lies buried below the steps of this mosque. He was succeeded by Sujauddin in 1727, who ruled Bengal till 1739. After him, Alivardi Khan and then Sirajud-Daulah ruled Bengal. The rulers of Bengal improved the administration. They encouraged agriculture, industry and trade. Poor farmers were given loans for doing improvement in the agricultural fields. Strict control was maintained by the rulers of Bengal over the collection of custom duties, means the tax to be paid on import and export of goods. In the 18th century, Bengal became one of the most prosperous regions of India. It was therefore the first province to be targeted and captured by the British. Sirajud-Daulah was defeated by the Britishers in the historic Battle of Plassey that was fought in 1757. Next important regional kingdom of 18th century was Awadh, or we can say Lucknow, the city of Nawabs. In 1722, Muhammad Shah, the Mughal emperor, appointed Shadat Khan, who was popularly known as Burhan-ul-Mulk, as the governor of Awadh. The zamindars of Awadh rose in rebellion and they refused to pay taxes on time. Sadat Khan suppressed the rebellious zamindars and reformed, means did some changes in the revenue system by levying equitable land revenue. The title of Nawab Wazir was conferred on him for suppressing the rebellion. He held the combined office of the Subedar, means the political head, Fauzdar, means military head, and the Diwan, means head of revenue altogether. Sadat Khan was succeeded by Safdar Jung in 1739. He and his successors were able administrators. People of Awadh experienced a period of peace and prosperity under the Nawabs. Lucknow, the capital, was a major center of art and culture like Urdu poetry, dance and music, known as the Lucknowi culture. The third Nawab, Sujauddaulah, was defeated by the Britishers in the Battle of Buxar in 1764. Next important province was Hyderabad. Chin Khan was a powerful noble in the court of Farrukhsiyar and Muhammad Shah, the two Mughal emperors, who was appointed as the governor of Deccan in 1722 and was awarded the title of Nizam-ul-Mulk Asaf Jah. He carved out the state of Hyderabad in 1724, which he ruled as an independent ruler by consolidating his power by establishing an effective administrative system, removing corruption from the revenue system, promoting trade and protecting the state from external and internal threats, He appointed Mansabdars also and granted them Jagirs means land without seeking permission from Muhammad Shah the Mughal Emperor, who was powerless to stop him. The successors of Nizamul Mulk were known as the Nizams of Asaf Jahi dynasty. Under Nizams, Hyderabad became well known for its art, culture and cuisine, means food. The Chaumala Palace was the official residence of the Nizams of Hyderabad. The next important kingdom was Rohilkhand. The Rohillas, that was an Afghan tribe, were concentrated in the present territories of Moradabad Bareilly region in Uttar Pradesh. Taking advantage of Nadir Shah's invasion, Ali Muhammad Khan established control over this region and later on renamed it as Rohilkhand. The Rohillas often clashed, means regularly they used to have clashes with their neighbouring kingdoms of Awadh and Delhi and with the Jats and the Marathas. The next important region of that time was Bharatpur. Bharatpur was under the ruling of the Jats. The Jats, they were the farmers who lived around Delhi, Mathura and Agra. They founded the independent kingdom of Bharatpur. Churaman, Badan Singh and Surajmal, they were the powerful Jat chiefs of that time. After the death of Surajmal in 1763, the power of the Jats declined. The area under their control was divided among small subedas that later on led for the accomplishment of the Britishers to occupy Bharatpur. Next comes the history of Rajputs, who were known for their loyalty, bravery, warriorhood, and they were known as Rajputra, means the king of sword. Most of the Rajput kings since the reign of Akbar had been allied, means friendly with the Mughals there, means they were having friendly relations with the Mughals. However, many of them revolted during the reign of Aurangzeb. By the early 18th century, most of the Rajput states like Jaipur, Jodhpur, Udaipur took advantage of the declining power of the Mughals and declared themselves independent. The most renowned Rajput ruler of this period was Savai Raja Jai Singh of Amber. He encouraged the teaching and learning of science. He founded the city of Jaipur and made it his capital. He was also interested in astronomy and therefore he built many observatories in Delhi, Jaipur, Mathura, Ujjain and Benares, now known as Varanasi. The Jantar Mantar Observatory in Jaipur, built by Savai Raja Jai Singh, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site today. The next important regional kingdom was Punjab under the Sikhs. The Sikhs, they had become powerful under Guru Gobind Singh. After his death, leadership passed into the hands of Banda Bahadur, who continued to fight against the Mughals in the second half of the 18th century. The Sikhs were organized into political groups called misls. There were 12 misls in all. Each misl had its own leader who controlled a specific area and fought against the other misl. Towards the end of the 18th century, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the leader of the Sukar Chakai misl, united all the misl together and after that he established a kingdom in Punjab. Next important kingdom was Mysore under Hyder Ali. Mysore, now known as Mysuru, became a powerful kingdom under Hyder Ali. He started his career as a foot soldier under the ruler Chikka Krishna Raj and gradually rose through the ranks to become the ruler of Mysore in 1761. As a ruler, he controlled the rebellious zamindars and improved the conditions of the farmers. He also modernized the army. With the help of the French, he established a modern arsenal at Dindigul. In 1769, Hyder Ali defeated the British forces in the First Anglo-Mysore War. After Hyder Ali, Mysore was ruled by his son Tipu Sultan. After Hyder Ali's death in 1782, his son Tipu Sultan, who was popularly known as the Tiger of Mysore, continued his fight with the Britishers. Tipu was deeply influenced by the ideas of the French Revolution. He introduced modern weapons in the army and made efforts to build a modern navy. He also realized the importance of trade and industry and tried to modernize the industries of his kingdom. He died defending his capital Seringamapatnam during the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War against the British in 1799. The next most important power of the 18th century were the Marathas. The Marathas, they had a humble origin. Till the early 17th century. They were minor chieftains serving in the kingdoms of Ahmednagar, Bijapur and Golconda. When these kingdoms became weak, the Marathas declared themselves independent. It was Shivaji who began his conquest from the age of 19 and carved out a powerful kingdom in the Konkan region. Shivaji was followed by weak successors. Sambhaji, who was Shivaji's son, was executed by Aurangzeb in 1689. In the 18th century, power passed into the hands of the Peshwas. It was under them that the Marathas became the dominant regional power of that time. The rise of the Peshwas. From 1713 to 1761, the Peshwas controlled the Maratha Empire. In 1713, Shivaji's grandson Shahu appointed Balaji Vishwanath as his Peshwa, or we can say chief minister, who was an able administrator and helped Shahu control the Maratha chiefs. In course of time, the Peshwa became the real decision maker. Balaji Vishwanath. Balaji Vishwanath took advantage of the weakness of the later Mughals and captured more territories. He forced Farrukhsiyar, the Mughal emperor of that time, to return all the territories which had been under Shivaji once. Besides, the Marathas also got the right to collect two types of taxes known as Chauth and Saldeshmukhi from 6 provinces in the Deccan. Next Peshwa was Bajirao I. Bajirao I succeeded Balaji Vishwanath. Peshwa Bajirao I was one of the finest military generals. He conquered Malwa, southern Gujarat and parts of Bundelkhand. Towards the south, he defeated the Nizams of Hyderabad and got the right to collect taxes from some provinces of the Deccan. He also captured Salsette and Bessin from the Portuguese. He is known as the fighting Peshwa as he spent most of his life fighting wars. Next Peshwa was Balaji Baji Rao. Balaji Baji Rao was the next Peshwa. After the death of Shahu in 1749, he became the head of the Marathas. He shifted the capital from Satara to Pune, now known as Pune. During his reign, the Maratha armies reached as far as Punjab and Rajasthan in the north and Bengal and Odisha in the east. The kingdoms of Mysore and Hyderabad were forced to cede territories and pay tribute to the Marathas. Under Balaji Baji Rao, Maratha power was at its greatest. Here comes the historic battle, the Third Battle of Panipat. That was an epic battle between the Maratha Empire and the Afghan forces to be fought in 1761. Balaji Baji Rao's expansion towards the north brought the Marathas in conflict with Ahmad Shah Abdali, the leader of the Afghan forces. The two armies met in Panipat in 1761, while Najib-ud-Dawla of Rohilkhand and Sujauddaulah of Awadh helped the Afghans, the Marathas had no ally. As a result, the Marathas were easily defeated by them. Reasons for the failure of the Marathas. The Maratha chiefs lacked unity. They used to fight among themselves. The five groups, Peshwas of Pune, Gaikwads of Baroda, now known as Vadodara, Bhonsles of Nagpur, Holkars of Indore, and Sindhyas of Gwalior, they all were enmeshed in petty jealousies and they failed to unite for a common cause. The Marathas alienated other rulers by raiding their kingdoms and levying taxes and tributes and made no attempts to improve the administration of the territories under them. As a result, they could not gain the loyalty of the people. The Marathas neglected trade and industry, nor they encouraged science and technology. They also failed to develop a modern army and did not adopt modern European techniques of warfare. The defeat in Panipat ended the possibility of the Marathas establishing an all India empire. Various Maratha chiefs broke away from the empire and they started ruling over smaller kingdoms. The Third Battle of Panipat gave the English East India Company an opportunity to consolidate its power in India. From here, slowly and slowly, the British rule started in India.